Here we go. We are live. Whether you are live or on the replay, welcome. I just finished flipping through the brand new History Year 1 course book from The Good and the Beautiful. Actually, the entire course set. If you're interested in that, it's linked down below. Right now, I want to go through and compare it with the old History Year. Now, this is an old of an old, actually. I have a note in here. I have the book list that says this is for a newer version than the one we have. So, but they weren't updated as drastically as this. So we're going to get into that. First things first, obvious comparison. They look different. This one is spiral bound. In fact, I rebound this myself because I don't love the wire binding that comes in. In fact, I will likely be rebinding this one. I do not like this wire binding. So I switched it out here. I will likely switch that one out too. If you're interested in how I do that, I will link that down below as soon as I can as well. So the style is different. Let's take a look here. We've got lesson 5. Just jump to lesson 5 to see if they're the same while we're at it. Lesson 5 here, ancient Egypt trade routes, and this is daily life and writing of ancient Egypt. So first up, the lesson layout is not exact. The lesson contents are not exact. This is just regular paper you can write on, right? You've seen I've written on here. This is glossy, like storybook glossy. So that's different. Let's look at the table of contents for the difference in what they're teaching. We have ancient history, Middle Ages and Renaissance. Now, I do not know if that's the same through all of the years, but for here, French and Indian War through the Revolutionary War, the same. And then Victorian era, history of flight and Cold War is the same. Now, as far as like individual lessons, we have course introduction and creation, the creation, Adam through Enoch, Noah through the Tower of Babel, introduction to ancient Egypt is lesson 4 over here, but here we have Mesopotamia and Abraham. And then 5 is ancient Egypt, daily life and writing. Here we have ancient trade routes. And then ancient Egypt, government and buildings, introduction to ancient Egypt. So that was up here. It's now down here. And then we have advancements in writing. There was some writing here. Here we have afterlife and Herodotus. Government and social structure. That was government and buildings. Joseph in Egypt, ancient Egypt, oral presentation. Oh, that one was not in here. I wonder if that was a high school thing. Abraham, we had Abraham up here. So it's moved around. Isaac and Rebecca, ancient trade routes. We have ancient trade routes up here. I don't see Isaac and Rebecca here. So maybe they're in there. We're not. Joseph in Egypt. We've got that one in different places. Moses and the Passover. We saw the Passover in here. There's a whole lesson on it. And there's Moses, the Israelites and Moses. So Isaac and Rebecca could be in there. Oh, sorry, I did not mean to bump that. Egypt from 600 BC to modern day. We've got that here. So ancient Britain, the spread of Christianity in Ireland and St. Patrick. Lesson 17, review history of your church. 17, spread of Christianity. No, let's see. Oh, okay. So we've got things moved around a little. The spread of Christianity in England. So this one doesn't have specifically a review of your church. It might mention it though, somewhere in there. Look up your church. Then we have spread of Christianity in England here. King Alfred the Great, William the Conqueror. And then we've got life in the Middle Ages is the same. Where are we at here? Right here. Magna Carta. This is Magna Carta Part 1 and 2. We just have the Magna Carta. I remember in this, oh, you can't even see it. I'm so sorry. I remember over here in the Magna Carta, there was a section that they recommended skipping for younger kiddos. So I'm going to guess they just skipped that for you in the Magna Carta here. So you don't have to worry about that. The Age of Chivalry. So now we're caught back up, right? No, now we're here. The Age of Chivalry is 23 and this one's 24. Joan of Arc part 1 and 2 and 3 and the older one. And we have part 1 and 2 of Joan of Arc here, which the lesson extension had more on Joan of Arc. So there's that. And then we have the Black Death after there. And then the Renaissance, we have artists and musicians in 2 separate lessons. And then we have the Scientific Revolution here, lining back up at lesson 29. And then here they had the Faithful French Huguenots, which they do not have here. Okay, 31, we're off again, but New France, young George Washington, the French and Indian War. Let's see, how are we going to do this? We're going to flip it. French and Indian War, we're going to go like this, sorry. Then we have Reason for Revolution. This is life in the Middle Ages. Sons of, we're off here. I'm in the wrong area. Where I got thrown off. Here we go. French and Indian War right here. Reasons for Revolution, the same. Sons of Liberty and Boston Tea Party. Yep. First Continental Congress, start of Revolutionary War. The Second Continental Congress, part 1 and 2, where this is just the one, and then the character of Thomas Jefferson is the same. The coming forth Declaration of Independence. Yep. And then we have John Locke, which we do not have a specific thing on John Locke here, but maybe he's talked about in there. I don't know. The sacrifices of the signers of the Declaration of Independence we have. Principles of the Declaration of Independence, General George Washington, yes. And then here, I guess instead of John Locke, we have Phyllis Wheatley and Mercy Otis Warren. And then the Battle of Trenton, yep. Valley Forge with alliance with France, yep. Articles of Confederation, the end of the Revolutionary War. Down here, we got an insert of more people here, which is something they said was different. The Blessings of the Constitutional Republic. And then in here, we have Queen Victoria and the British Empire, the Victorian period. We have Global Missionary Movement. This one here, we have Foreign Missionary Movement Part 1 and 2. So this is just in one. And we have another person there, 2 famous Victorians. We have one listed here. And then we have Florence Nightingale and the Great Irish Famine. So the Irish Potato Famine, similar. And then we have here the history of flight, where we have nursing during the Crimean during this war. The history of flight, and then we have Cold War Part 1 and 2. Let's see, the Berlin Blockade, Rebellion and Resistance, yes. The Space Race, this one has Ronald Reagan, this one does not, and then the Fall of Communism. So pretty similar, some adjustments in the ancient history, some additions of people, adjustments of people, but it's pretty similar, very similar. So again, I flipped through all of this in the other video. It's linked down below. Let's talk about books, because that was a question that came up during the flip through for myself, but also in the comments. Oh, hopefully I'm not losing my voice here. So I went and looked on the website. Somebody in the comments mentioned that on the website, they do have a book list in the resources page. The resources tab is listed right underneath, like at the top of the web page. There's like the slideshow of pictures. There's some tabs right underneath that. It's the last one there. So if you click on that, then you'll get the answer keys for the student explorers and then you'll also get the book list. I took a look at the book list. It is very similar to this one with some minor edits. They've taken some books out and added some other books, and I have a feeling that that is due to availability of the books. So when I get ready to prep for this one, I will be printing that one out because they added at least 1 or 2 in this area that we haven't read. So I will include that, but I will show you what books I have because every book that I do have is listed in that list. So I will talk about the books we have. So as I noted in my book, here I have that this is from from a newer version, this book pack. It's not, we had an older book pack. So we had The Golden Goblet. And all of these are recommended in here. Anyway, we just got a different book back. The Golden Goblet. Great story. We really enjoyed it. In fact, I could probably say that about all of them. The Door in the Wall. This was for Unit 2. Yes, it was a good one. American Twins of the Revolution. This was cute. Um, it really sparked my kids' interest in the revolution and led us down a path of you will see in Unit 4, 3. I think it's 3. Whatever unit the revolution is in, we have quite a few books for that because it really sparked their interest. They were interested in it. And then Nori Ryan's Song. We actually haven't read this one yet, so I do not know on that. That was the Unit 4 one, so this is Unit 3. With the book pack. But if we're going through here, The Boy of the Pyramids, I ended up getting probably through something because this says published by the Good and Beautiful Library. I don't know that they have it anymore, and that might be why I have it. But we haven't read it yet, so we will read it if we go through this again. We will be reading this one instead of the Golden Goblet. And that's all I had I did not have very many for the first 2 units. But for the second unit, so they have quite a few. Here's the Golden Goblet listed. Again, this is not the one that you would print out from the website. This is an older version, but it's very similar. So I would say go look at that one. But all of these are in there. Door in the Wall's there. Huguenot Garden is still in that other list, I believe. If not, I recommend it. It's cute. Let's see. So Unit 3. I do not have 3 golden doubloons. I will probably get the ones that are recommended because we don't have this one. I will probably get that one. I will go through them and see which ones we don't have that we can read at that point is what basically is what I'm trying to say. We don't have many of those. Oh, that one's that's for Unit 4. We have for this unit, Martha Washington, so Martha Washington is Childhood of Famous Americans. I talked about this in the flip through, but this is a great series. My kids loved this book, and it was a jumping off point to show an interest in wanting to get more. So I bought tons of them on thrift books. And so as you come across people like Martin Luther King, we saw him in the flip through. Abraham Lincoln. There's so many people, and even looking in the coursework, things like Betsy Ross and stuff like that. They have books on them. We've been reading through them. My kids still love them. They're just great. They just give you, they go through their childhood, and it's just fun to see what those people were like and what led them to the things that they did, what they experienced. And so I highly recommend the whole series. We're reading it as read alouds just because my kids love them. Tolliver's Secret was in here. Let's see. Martha Washington's down there. Here's Tolliver's Secret. This was cute as well. It's a fun story about a little girl who dresses up as a little boy to be able to deliver something to somebody. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember we enjoyed it. And that also, it's, red coats and stuff. It sparked some interest there. The Sign Painter's Secret. This one, I don't remember exactly what it's about, but I do remember that we enjoyed it. Because when I was looking at doing a comparison, these books were coming to my mind that I knew that we read, that were recommended, that I liked it. So if I remembered it, we liked it, right? And then I know that moving from there, we're going to, let's see, what are some other ones? We read also Tree of Freedom here. We read that one. That one was fun. It was a great historical fiction talking about somebody when 13-year-old Stephanie Venable and her family moved to Carolina from Kentucky. They knew they were in for a great adventure. And it's just, her family moving. It's like Little House on the Prairie-esque, but in Carolina instead of on the prairie. It's fun. And then these are ones we have not gotten to yet. 7 Miracles That Saved America. That one's in here, right here. And then Apostle of Liberty is there. And these are, again, this is the old one. They are also listed in the newer one. These two are. And then Children of the Storm is also listed. And Eric Little, Something Greater Than Gold. So as far as like considering if you wanted to consider this for high school, because this one, the previous version did have high school stuff, you can assign more readers, and in figuring out credits, you can determine, which books you pick out that go through the different areas. Personally, I would, as far as like the read alouds and assignments and stuff go, I would let them flow as they come in the years. But I would just pick, like, this one was heavy on US and this one was heavy on world history, and assign credits that way, or just decide, typically they do US history first and then world history, and just when you've reached completion enough to count it, then count it. Whatever works for you and your state laws and how you have to do it would be the best way to handle that. So there's Booklist. It's very similar on both because the topics being discussed are very similar. Oh, where can I put these? Okay, off to the side. Bear with me. Do not want a tumbling crash during notebooks. Okay, so next let's compare the games. So we had Keys of History, and now we have Time Tunnel review cards. Again, if you want to see all of these, I go through every single one in like what they are and talk about the activities and stuff in the flip through. So we have these cards here that have information on the back, facts about it, and then you have different activity options to do with them. In the Keys of History game, you have a little meeple and some markers and dice, and then you have that's our family scorecard. You have these cards that are very similar to this. There's more cards here because this was just for year one. So this has, it's a card per lesson. This has 21 cards for year one. I don't remember how many cards are in here, but it's a similar idea. You have Patrick Henry and you have facts about Patrick Henry, and then it's worth 3 points, right? For whatever we were tallying our score. So we would earn these as a family is how we would play it. But you go around the board and you land on one, and then if you earn the card, you put a marker on it so that you skip it next time. It's not really all that necessary to do to be able to play the game. So I can see why they opted to not have it with the cards, because with the different activities, you could have a board, but you don't need it. So it's a simpler, smaller thing to put on the shelf and to grab, and less moving parts on the table. And they have 4 different activities that you can do with it that really apply. You could also do them with these, but then you wouldn't need the board. Like you just don't need the board. It's fun. My kids enjoyed it. It was definitely more game-like because we had the board, but it wasn't necessary. So it'll be interesting to see how they feel about just the cards versus having a board, but I don't think it's that big of a deal and the difference there. And let's get those back in there. Got games. Now we're going to look at the other course, the other family non-consumables. So for the new one, we have a History Year 1 Maps and Images. And we have History Stories, the Big Book of History Stories. For the old version, we just had Big Book of History Stories. It includes maps and images. So clearly, there are a ton more images, and there really are. They're great. Lots more images in here. I think it makes it more fun. And then there are probably more stories. Let's see. There were 19 stories in here. And it's hard to know here. Oh, the story of Joseph and the babe in the bulrushes is the same as far as stories go. Um, Helping Hands is new. Unlocking the Rosetta Stone is new. We did not talk a lot about the Rosetta Stone. So Joseph's Journey. It's probably the story of Joseph, or at least close to it. And then the Lost Coin. I don't think we had something like that. But A Day in the Medieval Monastery. Here we have something about a merchant. If you were a merchant. Story of St. Patrick there. Let's see. Life of a Knight. If you lived in the Middle Ages. Little Joan of more things Leonardo loved, is in here. Isaac Newton. We don't have Paul Revere, so we don't have. There's Isaac Newton. That's similar. And then Child Who Defended Castle. That's not in here. So there are different stories and stuff. And let's just take a look at one of them. Let's see. Day in the Thieves. Let's jump to the story of Joseph, and Joseph's Journey is on page 33. Joseph's Journey. I'm going to guess that story. So it's different art style, but it is very similar, and it's likely a very similar story. Joseph was but little when his mother died many years ago. So it's a different story, different illustrations and everything. So lots more stories for sure. And then pictures and stuff they have. I think that was just the stories, because later we have maps and images back here. And if you saw the flip through, there's a lot more. Just a lot more going on in there as far as maps and images go. So definitely a plus on that front. And then not last, I guess. In the new one, you get bound Student Explorers, which I go through in depth in the flip through. Come bound, pre-printed for you. Nice color, cutesy. Also, a difference is you get, actually, I don't know how different it is. The lesson extensions, which is new to this. I don't remember if there's anything like that in the Student Explorers for the old one. We didn't get in, my kids did not like them. They were very dry. But with these, each one gets a years 1 through 4 timeline, and I do not have a timeline for this. So I'm guessing, I'm not sure what happened there, but you get a timeline with the Student Explorer. And then as this, you have 3 through 6, 7 through 8, and difference again, activity book for K through 2 that I believe can be used for K through 8 and beyond. Discussed in the other one. So for this one, as far as Student Explorers go, you got a PDF that you had to print out, and it was just very, you can see here, we didn't get very far in them. This is grades 1 through 3 is what the younger one was. It just was not very exciting. And it was just, worksheets being handed to them. My kids did not enjoy it. The new Student Explorers look much cuter. That's a huge plus. Like, if nothing else, that is massively awesome change. And then this one is years 4 through 6. Oh, so they had different steps even. But so there was more reading a little bit. So there was a little bit of lesson extensions in there depending on the grade level. And this one was 4 through 6, but again, it was very dry. They didn't love it. And so they probably also had high school Student Explorers, and that's how they got into that, which they do not offer now. They did also have things for like insights for members of Jenny's church, Latter-day Saints. They also, I don't think I printed any of the high school stuff because the kids weren't in high school. So there's the bulk of the differences. That's pretty much lays it all out for you. Very similar. same stuff being taught. But man, mm, good stuff. I am very pleased with the changes that they've made. So if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. That I'm happy to answer anything that I can. If it was helpful to you, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated. A comment gives YouTube more engagement to know that this is helpful. And if we haven't met yet, hi there. I'm Elaine from On the Same Page Together. We are a Christ-centered home of learning, and on this channel, we talk about all things family. We like to share what works for us as we strive to encourage you on your journey in life and family. I don't know if I said that at the beginning. So I hope that was helpful. It's been a long night of lives. Check out the other lives if you're interested. I got math, and I have history here. All of the science units the Good and Beautiful offers. Um, math K through 8 now, and language arts, whatever they have on the website right now, K through 7 is what I have on here, and handwriting, all kinds of different things. So feel free to check it out, and I will see you over there. Bye.